All right, good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you're tuning in for this today. Today we're doing a 9 exercise, 3-round routine. It'll get you up and down off the ground. It'll work your mobility for your whole body. If you need to record this, make sure that you set your watch so you can get credit for this activity for today. If you have a coach that is curious about what you're doing and keeping you accountable for things, make sure that you hit your watch so you can let them know what you did. All right, so we're going to start off with a little warm-up. I did bring a kettlebell today, so if you have a kettlebell and you want to use one, there's an exercise or two that we can do today that can involve a kettlebell. It's not necessary. But if you have one and you want to put on some extra weight to your routine, not to your body, to your routine, go ahead and grab one of those. Okay, so go ahead and get your legs a little further in hip distance. Let's go ahead and spin side to side. Nice big movement. Warm up the spine, warm up the ankles. Get those shoulders warmed up. All right, get the spine moving. Might be a little stiff from whatever activity you're into before this. All right, let's put our hands together, bring your arms up, chop down to your knee. Let's do a little wood chop here. And again, we're just warming up that body, so gentle bend in that knee just to get the knees lubricated up, get the shoulders lubricated up. Switch sides. All right, let's put in a little squat. And an overhead reach. Bring it down, squat, overhead reach. As we go through today, think about those things that you're grateful for you getting to do this movement for today. And wherever you are in your fitness. All right, let's do one more of those. Whoop. All right. Our first exercise is going to be a bear crawl. You can do this elevated. How do you do that elevated? Get a piece of furniture and do the same move that we're going to do on the ground in an elevated position. So for us to get ready for this bear crawl, first of all, put your wrists right underneath your shoulders. Put your knees right underneath your hips. And lift those knees up a little bit. Let's go ahead and get started. If you want to walk around and do a bear crawl for this, that's fine. I want to stay on screen here, so I'm going to do a static bear crawl today. Don't forget to breathe. Nice deep breaths. The first part of this exercise is going to be a little bit easy. And then as we get into that second half of that minute, those legs might start to shake a little bit. They might start telling you that they're a little weaker than maybe you would hope, or maybe a little stronger than you hope. All right, we got 15 seconds. You can make it. And rest. All right, nice job. Let's go ahead and stand up. All right, for our second exercise, it's going to be a fake jump rope. So go ahead and get started. All right, I'm going to give you some options here. Just do a little bounce, get those wrists moving. If you're unable to jump, or if you need a modification for that for today, let's keep our legs pretty close and let's dip down and still spin our wrists. Okay, and get that coordination in as we do this fake jump rope. All right, now since we have a fake jump rope, we don't have to get that high. We can just get a little hop off the ground, build that bone mineral density in that lower body as we go along. All right. Right, 20 seconds. And rest. Awesome. Next, we're going to go down into a plank position. All right, so that could be a plank off of a piece of furniture. It could be a plank off the wall. It could be a full plank. It could be a knee plank. Whatever you want to do today. Ready? And go. Now, if you want the option to spin, go ahead and open up that plank as wide as you can. Bring that arm back down nice and slow. Keep that plank position and rotate. All right, if you're not in that position today, just concentrate on staying in that plank position. Keep it nice and smooth if you're moving. And rest. All right. Next, we're going to do some kettlebell swings. If you don't have a kettlebell, that is perfectly fine. Go through the same motion as I do with the kettlebell. All right. You can also use a little dumbbell if you hold it onto the side. That works as well. Okay, ready? And go. So we're going to bring that, snap the hips, bring the kettlebell up. Try to get that kettlebell up at chin level. Your arms are just working like pendulums for this one. So snap the hips out, throw the weight, bring it back down. All right, 10 seconds. And rest. Woo! That one's a tough one. All right, next we're going to do speed bag crunches or speed bags. So get your knees a little bendy. Let's get our arms up and we're going to rotate our hands over hands. Be careful, don't punch yourself. All right, this is shoulder endurance activity. Don't forget to breathe. You can swing your hips a little bit if you want. All right, 10 seconds. And rest. All right, nice job. Next, we're going to work our hips and our core. There isn't really a name for this exercise, but we're going to sweep it down, bring it all the way up, stretch all the way through your arms, and bring it back down. Okay, bend, hinge at the hips. So we got a little hip hinge with an extension. Bring it down all the way up. Seconds. And rest. Whew. It's really humid out here today. All right, so next we're gonna do a cross crunch, standing cross crunch, elbows to the opposite knee. And when we do that, if you need to hold on to something to do that, go ahead and do that. But we want to try to cross our midline in this one. So let's try to do that. Let's put our arms up, cross the knee, turn the torso each time you do this. Try to get it 90 degrees, working that core, working the hip flexors. Driving those knees up. You got this. Seconds. And rest. All right, we are down on the ground. You can actually sit for this one if you need to. We're gonna do circle crunches. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put our hands underneath our hips, get our legs out, and we're gonna make circles with our legs. Ready? And go. Keep it nice and controlled. This is a tough one. If you need to drop your legs to the ground, go ahead and do so. All right, switch directions. And rest. All right, our last exercise is a squat to a reach. So we're gonna stand up, legs a little further in hip distance, squat it down, reach it up, just like we did for the warm-up earlier in the show. Go at your own pace. If you need some modifications, don't go as low. If you need some upper level modifications, put a little hop up at the top. Increase that bone mineral density in your hips, in your lower legs by doing that little pop up at the top. All right, 10 seconds. And rest. All right, we got 1 minute in between rounds here. So go ahead and grab yourself a drink. Take a couple deep breaths. You're ready for the next round. And if some of you like to march around, so if you need to do that, go ahead and do that. Think about those things in your life that you're grateful for. Keep a positive attitude. Think about those things of gratitude. All right, 10 seconds, and we're gonna get back to our bear crawl. All right. All right, let's get into position. Ready, and go. Wrists right underneath your shoulders, knees right underneath your hips. Maintain that tabletop position. The lower you go, the harder it is. 15 seconds. And rest. All right, we are up for our fake jump ropes. Now, maybe that's fake jump ropes for you. Maybe that's just like little hops. Maybe it's just a close-legged squat. Ready, and go. You got this, keep it up. This is a tough one because it's pretty sustained. All right, 15 seconds. And rest. Woo! That's a good old calf burner. Let's go into our plank. Down to our plank position. We can put a rotation in here if we want. All right, plank up. Straight line between the ground touching point and our shoulders. We can rotate if we want. We can maintain that plank position. All right, 15 seconds. And rest. All right, we are on to our kettlebell swings. Again, if you don't have a kettlebell, you can use a small dumbbell. If you don't have a small dumbbell, no worries, just use your hands. For this one, it's more important to do the motion. Ready? And go. Just try to bring that kettlebell up to your chin, or that little weight. No need to go any higher. Get that perfect amount of hip thrust to get that kettlebell where you want it to go. The heavier kettlebell, the more you're really gonna have to push through those hips. rest. All right, nice work. All right, next we got our speed bags. So get a little hip movement in there, get your arms up and go. All right, you got this. Keep it up. Good shoulder endurance exercise. We got 15 seconds. And rest. Woo! All right, next we're gonna do the hip hinge with the full extension upward. All right, ready and go. Sweep your arms down, bring them all the way up and over. Hinge at the hips, slight bend to the knees, sweep and up. Big sweeping motions. "15 seconds. All right, here we go. Knee to elbow with the twist, opposite side. I'm gonna rotate. Get some turn on that spine. Let's get this going. Whew. All right, 20 seconds. And rest. We're down on the ground for some circle crunches. Oh, it feels good to lay on the ground. All right, we're getting our hands underneath our hips, small little circles with our legs. You can go where you need to go on this one. And switch. "15 seconds. Take a little break if you need it. And rest. Whew. All right, last exercise, round number 2, is a squat with the reach. So unlike when we did the sweeps, when we hinged at the hips, we are dropping our butt this time, keeping our chest forward, keeping our eyes forward, and reaching overhead straight up. got this. Last exercise, round number 2. Again, if you have time for 2 rounds, great. You can hang around for the 3rd round. Let's do it. And rest. All right, sweet. Take a little break. 1 minute between rounds here. Grab yourself a drink. Take some deep breaths. Lower that heart rate a little bit. Get ready for the last round. Doing great. Keep it up. Again, if you need to make this a little bit harder, take those extremes for every single one of those exercises. Get your heart rate up if you need to make this a HIIT training. If you're here for mobility, keep it nice, slow, controlled as you go. Just so you can work on lubricating those joints and getting the movement in. No sense going super hard if you can't make the last round if you want to. So try to make it 3 rounds. As you go through this last round, you got something left, you want to put it all out there on the table, go ahead and do that. See what you got left. All right, 15 seconds. We're going to start that last bear crawl position. All right, wrists are underneath your shoulders. Tuck the toes. Knees are underneath your hips. Ready? And lift. Keep those knees as low as you can. If you need to do it elevated, do it elevated. Try to keep your knees at this 90-degree angle. Even if you're doing it elevated, keep those knees at a 90-degree angle. It really helps to build those little stabilizing muscles around your knees. All right, we got 10 seconds left. You can make it. And rest. All right, we got our fake jump rope next. Go ahead and stand up. All right, ready and go. Fake jump rope, let's do it. Or you can just bounce a little bit. Or you can just do those tape-legged squats. Whatever you need to make this today, make it. Don't forget to breathe. You need a little break, slow it down. 15 seconds. And rest. Whew. All right, we're down on the ground or elevated or on the wall for a plank. Alrighty, ready and go. Again, if you want to rotate for this plank, go ahead and do it. For this one, we're really working on that core control, keeping that body nice and tight throughout the whole range of motion on this one. right, 10 seconds. And rest. All right, kettlebell swings are next. Or you can just use a dumbbell, or you can just use your bad self. Go through the same motion. We're pushing out those hips. Push that kettlebell up into the air to chin level so you can monitor those hips as you go in and out to make sure that you put just enough power to get it to your knees, to your chin. Ready? And go. 15 seconds. And rest. Woo. All right, our next exercise is our hip hinge with the reach. A sweeping hip hinge. All right, hands up. Sweep it down, hip hinge. All the way up. Feel that, those muscles working in your hamstrings. Good job. All right, next we got our knee or elbow to our knee as we turn 90 degrees to the right and to the left. So go ahead and put your hands up and turn. And turn. We're trying to get those elbows across the midline to the knee. Whoa. All right, 15 seconds. And rest. All right, we're down on the ground for some circle crunches. All right, hands underneath our tailbone, legs out, little circles with your legs. Really tighten that core. Keep that lower back drilled into the ground for support. All right, switch directions. right, 5 seconds. And rest. All right, back up to our feet. All right, our last exercise for today is our squat with the reach. If you want to put a little pop up at the top, go ahead and do that. Ready and go. Remember, for this one, we're doing a little different than we did before. Keep the chest up, keep the eyes forward. All right, the last one we were hinging at the hips a little bit. This time, we're keeping that upper body static as we go up and down here. All right, 15 seconds. And rest. All right, we did it. We're going to stretch out a little bit, and that'll be it for today. Awesome work today. All right, let's interlock your fingers, stretch it all the way up. Push through your palms. Push your wrist up towards the ceiling, up towards the sky. Lean it over just a little bit. Back to center, out the other side. All right, let's take our shoulders and roll them out. All right, roll in the other direction. All right, if you're able to get on the ground, go ahead and get on the ground. Go into cobra position, really lift your chin up. Keep those arms straight. Sag those hips down. All right, let's bring our hips back towards our feet. Spread out your knees a little bit. Get into child's pose. All right, let's go to half kneeling position. Stick out that leg. You can also do this from a standing position. And lean into that leg, get a good stretch in the hamstring and the calf. Tip that toe up. All right, bring the leg in, switch legs. All right. Good job. Thanks so much for coming, everybody. I really appreciate it. Your body's going to appreciate it as well. Make sure you get a lot of water at this time of year where we're at. You can see it's nice and green here. It is very humid, and if you're outside a lot, make sure that you get plenty of hydration. I just updated my website, so I am at wellnesswarriorhq.com. Please check it out. I'd love to hear your opinion of what you think about the new refreshed website. Thanks for tuning in. This is Coach C signing off.